Oh yeah, I keep forgetting I'm younger, yeah. I finished uni before, so I thought...
Gen Z memory.
I'm out of here, guys! See ya!
I like how you said, well, you're Gen Z, because then this gets us started.
Oh, but you weren't filming at the time though, were you?
No, I wasn't.
Dang it!
This is our very first podcast, so we're kind of just going with the flow. Mm-hmm. And back onto the topic of Gen Zs. So I kind of told the guys, and I said that, I
was going to say something. I think the majority of the populations, millennials especially, with the use of like social media and whatnot, is kind of struggling with, I guess, a form of emptiness and lack of meaning. Like, you know, doing meaningless things because we want to get noticed. Like, that's the epitome of our generation. Like, that's what us as Gen Z is like, crave. You know, is that
crave attention.
Like attention.
Yeah.
And it's like, that moment of getting that hit, of that, you know, getting that recognition. And then that's literally me. If you're like doing something meaningless, right? And it gets attention, or, you know, something that has little meaning. It has little meaning. So although it has attention, it will only be for a short period of time.
I agree.
Whereas if you're doing something really meaningful, create something that's packed with meaning and depth, and then you put that into the world, I feel like that has a larger...
Good stuff. Speak more. Please speak more, sir. Sir.
Like, that's going to last a lot longer, you know, in the long run when people look into it. And so a lot of the stuff that we're consuming on the daily is meaningless stuff. And then that causes all of the millennials to just kind of like Gen Z to kind of be in a state of like a lack of meaning, like searching for true, genuine meaning. And then, so I feel like, especially me with like my music, like I want to, in a sense, like I feel like, this is going to sound weird. It's almost like it's my destiny to kind of answer that call of that search for meaning in those children's, whatever.
Children's, you just got Gen Z's children.
Hey, he's right.
In our lives. And so, like, you know, I mean, for me, I'm just a person who loves meaning, and so I put that into my music. And so if that happens to help people, like, that's the best thing for me. So.
I actually just want to add on to that as well, because I just remembered what you said about meaning is actually particularly bad with our generation, because to derive meaning, when you find something meaningful, you're essentially getting like a huge dopamine hit. Right? Otherwise you wouldn't want to do it, you wouldn't find it meaningful. But the problem now is with like all the social media, instant gratification, it's so easy to get a dopamine rush just from opening your Instagram. There's so much novelty because there's a little bit of, I don't know, science behind it.
Yeah,
like
Mm-hmm.
dopamine. No, I'm just saying, should we explain for the...
if you'd
do you want to take out your textbook?
Okay, yeah, give me a sec. No, but okay, basically, like, dopamine's a novelty neurotransmitter, right? So as soon as you see something that you're new to, basically your brain sends out dopamine, and that makes you feel, I guess, good in a way, and it makes you seek it even more. And so now with all this, instant gratification on social media, people are able to, they basically fry their dopamine receptors in their brain, and that means if you can get gratification from opening social media, why would you pursue something that is hard but also meaningful, such as making music or working hard towards your goals? You know,
requires more
if that gives your brain the same kind of rush as, you know, watching a TikTok video or scrolling on it for like 6 hours, right? Which is what a lot of Gen Zs do nowadays. They don't want to pursue anything that has true meaning.
That's a big statement.
For sure.
I
also,
lost you like halfway.
How? About the dopamine and stuff.
Yeah, about the dopamine. Like, what? How did you get logically to the place where it's like, why would I spend so much time?
Yeah.
Like making something meaningful when I can just go on TikTok.
Yeah, it's probably good he brought it up, because probably some of the audience is wondering the same. So, as I said, right, Ansel could probably help me explain this as well, in case I'm kind of...
I feel like I get asked this every time in some type of like situation. I'm like,
For
why?
Sure. It's an
Every
interesting
time, like, they're
always
always like, you know about this. I'm like, do I?
Because you did the same
like,
degree.
I did.
Oh, you did as well.
We both did.
Is what you're saying, like,
I mean, I could.
It's ringing bells, you know what I mean? I didn't do my degree for nothing.
Exactly, hey!
Shut off.
Sorry?
The
30 minutes. Up?
probably, yeah.
Oh, do you want to start again, or is the battery dead?
No, it's
Nah, I
just
don't
the
think
30 minutes,
that
right?
is it.
You
Okay.
can just click record again, right?
I'll just quit.
Can we check if the sound is still going?
Bro, I know where the record is. I got it.
No, we're checking
The sound.
Yeah.
It's recording.
It's recording, right?
Okay, cool,
Like,
cool.
I'm
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're just gonna.
We're just on standby.
You need to do your touch ID.
Oh,
Touch ID.
What's the time now? I
It is
swear,
6:52.
like what these two are saying made me think about a lot.
no worries.
So it's actually so interesting.
Doesn't
A
matter.
podcast makes you think about.
It does.
I know,
And live-
crazy.
Yesterday, I was actually listening to a podcast, but
Yeah.
it was saying that we should have more live discussions.
Yeah.
And that's what podcasts are for.
Right.
Like, normally we don't really,
Especially
have
about deep,
platforms
deep
for that.
topics as well.
Exactly.
Because, like again, I was saying, things are getting censored so much now. So you don't see that on social media. If you open it, you're not going to see discussions about, like, Gen Z's being snowflakes and all that shit. So it's like, well, it's 100% true. I'm not taking that back. But anyway, no, in all seriousness though, because of everything being like censored, right?
Yeah.
We don't get chance to have this
Yeah.
like the kids consuming TikTok, they don't hear these kind of conversations.
No.
It's very shallow level.
We need real conversations.
yeah.
And to them-
Subscribe for this good stuff. So
to them,
anyway,
they don't even know about it like that. To them, this is perfect. This is the most perfect thing in the world, and so they keep watching it.
that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Right.
They don't know any better.
Yeah.
basically.
Bro,
tough.
jump in the middle, man. You have some good stuff to say. Next one.
Were you gonna say,
Yeah, about so camera just shut off before.
When did it cut off? Was it? Did I get? To
Oh,
say
do you know?
finish what I said?
Maybe just reiterate it again.
I think it caught some of it.
Got some of it.
just say what you were saying.
Just say it again.
Yeah,
Ask your question
I was
again.
basically asking a question that
Mm.
is what what's your name? Joe
No,
was
I
describing.
think it got that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
just
whole
do it
thing.
again. Just do it anyway.
I don't know about the whole thing.
Bro,
let's
just
just-
whole thing again.
You know what I'm saying?
Is what Joe was talking about. Is what he was saying basically that the amount of dopamine, the rush of dopamine that one gets from constantly scrolling, through whatever social media for 6 hours.
Yeah.
It's like instant dopamine, instant gratification, and it's like, why would I spend like months or weeks putting so much effort into, let's say, a piece of artwork or whatever, or doing something meaningful, which will give me like a dopamine rush as well, but it's much more effort that's being put into it. Whereas I can just spend a few hours scrolling and I'm gonna get dopamine instantly and feel alright. And I was just asking if that's what he meant.
Precisely.
Yeah.
He's like spot on. Yeah. Agree. Pretty much exactly. Everything that you said. Like you were saying. At the end of the day, it's effort. So if just think of it this way, two things: working for months on end on like your music, one song, right, creates the same kind of dopamine rush in your brain as scrolling for 2 hours on TikTok. If they create the same, which they actually don't, because I think the TikTok actually produces more dopamine because it's so fast, right?
Right.
I'm
didn't
not-
think about
I
that.
think-
Don't quote me on that. And so if that is the case, why would anyone spend that much time working hard on their own passion or their goal?
I can actually connect that to like little, what are they called, like anecdote. Because when because I released the song, I don't like promoting myself. I released a song earlier this year called "Figure It Out," right? And I spent like 3 months working on that. That was like a lot of hours, 100 plus,
Yeah.
maybe 200
Yeah.
plus, whatever. When I finished it, right, and like I was like, oh my gosh, this thing's done, finally. I guess you could say I had like a dopamine rush, and it was really like, I was really excited to have it be put out,
Yeah.
and to have people listen to it. It was my first song ever, and I put so much effort into it. And so when I released it, I don't know, I guess subconsciously I had an expectation that a lot of people would go into it and listen to it, etc.
That's
So when
so-
I put it out, and
It's
like,
not the case, is it? It's always like that, trust me.
it was like I'll just half an hour, half a day later or whatever, I call it,
Yeah.
I check and it's like 10, 13 likes, and maybe there's a few comments of people saying that they liked it or messages, but it's not what you're expecting. It's not like what
Can 100%
it's not
relate.
worth. Let's say it's not worth 3 months of work.
Yeah.
No.
A couple of like, oh, this was really cool, I really like this, I like this part, etc. was not worth 3 months of hard work and dedication. And so
Yeah.
that kind of made me like, I felt really like it was I don't know what's the opposite of dopamine. But of course, when you go into a depressed state, I was kind of like, oh man, what's the point? And now I've kind of learned through that process that I'm not making music for what other people are going to say about it or other people's thoughts in it, etc. I'm making music for myself first, because firstly, I'll change it up. It's more like because I believe that God has called me to make music. So like I make music first because I'm obeying God, and then secondly for myself, and because like I want this thing to be in the world. That's what I want to do. And whether other people want it or people are going to listen to it, etc., that's not what matters. What matters is I want this to be something that I can go to, that I can listen to, that I can come back to and say, I did this, or whatever the case, or just to listen to it. Like sometimes I'm like, if I've made like a melody or something in the past, and then like a few days later or a few weeks later, I start humming it again, and I'm like, oh, what's that song? And I'm literally like thinking about going to YouTube to search it, and I'm like, oh wait, I made that song. And it's in my head, but it's not a real song yet, right? And so like that's kind of frustrating to me. Like I want to be at a point where I can go back to it when I do hear that melody and be like, oh wait, that's a song that I have actually released, and I can go back and listen to it. And so yeah, first because I feel like it's a calling for me. Secondly, because for myself and the fact that I want it to exist. And then thirdly is when it, if it blesses other people and it helps other people, then that's amazing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's so interesting about that is it relates to what what was it? So how Josh was saying, because of how like fake social media is now, you have to censor yourself so much, and also when you introduce like monetization and you want attention, right? That's the main incentive for most people to post, and they don't want to post if it's not getting any traction. And so Josh was saying, for him personally, you would keep going just because it gives you meaning. Like it's the whole religious side as well. You feel like it's what was it? Reiterate. I don't want to sound like I'm religiously ignorant.
No, it's just calling.
Yeah, like a calling, right? Yeah. But then also with society progressing, religion is kind of dying down and more. That's taken away. Also take away the fact that most people they prefer that dopamine hit from social media more than working hard. That's probably another contributor to why people don't want to,
put in the effort.
Yeah, to make content.
Yeah, I think it was really important that you mentioned calling, because that's what you need to have if you're going to be able to ignore everything else. It's going to give you dopamine like hit. And I think that's why I've been seeing so many other videos of people talking about how they get caught up in not being productive in the way that they want to. And everyone, like, so many people have dreams to do so many different things, but so many of them, majority of them won't do it. And they never do it. And because they don't either have that calling, or they don't trust in themselves, or there's like a plethora of reasons. And because TikTok and other types of social media are so easy, it's so easy,
right?
And that's why you kind of feel like that dopamine rush is way more worth it, because it is instant. You have to wait for that delayed gratification to get it from your music or anything else that you make, because you know that like there's gonna be effort put in. But if you don't have to put in any effort, that's kind of when you think about, well, maybe I can do it later, and later becomes years for some people. And so it's really important for more people, I think, to have like callings, or like go out and find it, and not just in random videos, but like actually exploring the world. And so,
or just decreasing your consumption of that instant gratification stuff. Just don't use social media for 6 hours a day. Control it.
It can retrain your.
Because if that's all you consume, how are you gonna know yourself for what you want and what your body desires?
Exactly.
People talk about this a lot. Yeah. No, that was a very. So moral of the story, guys, just delete that shit called TikTok and get out of the fucking house and do some shit. Oh my god.
That's funny. But yeah, I guess
moderation.
Yo.
We can transition to play that song, Dancing on the Internet by Kevin Garrett, if you haven't checked it out. Everyone is making the same thing. There's no originality in TikTok. You know? Do you know what I mean?
Are you talking about jumping on trends?
Yeah, jumping on trends, but also like, the dancing and all that. You know what I mean? Like, it's all the same.
I think it's also to do with how the algorithm is.
But there's like different like niches, like
there are niches. Ways. Okay, I'm not talking about the niches. I'm talking about the people that don't want to put in the effort to create something that's original. No, you know what I mean?
Like Josh was saying, as Kayla was saying, right? It is to do with the trends.
It is
because the algorithm pushes, it pushes the audios I'm sure like everyone who's watching this is aware as well. You can click into the audio on TikToks, and then every single user essentially can use that same audio.
A Gen Z is explaining to another millennial or Gen Z.
I'm like 1 year older than younger. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting I'm younger. Yeah. But I finished uni before, so I thought
Gen Z memory.
I'm out of here, guys. See ya. Stop roasting me.
Sorry, continue.
No, what was I saying? Oh, Gen Z memory.
We were explaining the about the audio.
What audio? Oh yeah. No, I was pretty much done. I was saying like
more fish oil in your Sorry.
no, I was pretty much done. So like, yeah, you guys who use the hell? I'm sorry.
That's
the attention span. I swear, that's not because I'm Gen Z. It's just I'm ADHD as well. But,
I know.
No, but sorry. Oh, let me just finish.
Shall I put it away?
Yeah. I've never seen that before. It's got like a pocket
I've got
or something.
pockets in my tights.
Yeah, TikTok favors trends, done. I think
Well, that's
enough.
kind of sad now, because now you start going into the discussion of like, is that really good for our generation? If you're constantly pushing
No, of
certain
course not.
content to be, seen, or certain content for people to be involved in, like, who controls what?
I don't think people. Well, it's about money at the end of the day, right? And success.
True.
So when you factor in that, I don't think many people would prioritize like what you call good. You know?
I think like another thing is when you look at, I think there's been some like studies showing that the younger generation care a lot more about fame. Like this is an obvious thing, like everyone knows this, but there's also like statistics behind it. And I think like part of the statistics behind it is because younger people also associate that type of fame and success with being able to be financially stable, because like they already know like, I go to high school, then I go to university, and then I get a job, and then I still don't make enough money to do any of the things that I want to do in life. And then there's, a 6-year-old that is just unboxing toys and he's making like $26 million.
That's true.
And so you're like, wait, why would I do that when I can live a good life? And so like when you keep seeing that every single day on every type of social media platform, then obviously you start associating fame with being able to be financially stable.
point.
And like, why would you want to do anything else? This is why you see like people who are already successful, like as lawyers, doctors, whatever, leaving their jobs to go work in like entertainment and building other revenue streams, because they know that it's a simple life, and it also opens up much more opportunities.
It does.
So like when you see all that, why would you not chase after it? But it is scary, and it is a rat race of its own kind, and that's I think the concern, because it's like, how do you balance that life that you know that you want and is only accessible mostly for people who are famous, like when you know that it's
Also,
going
when
to
you
be
say famous,
detrimental.
though, I feel like a lot of the kids that get into it, they kind of confuse fame with, or at least your TikTok fame,
Yeah,
with
actual
actual,
fame.
actual like successful,
interesting.
what's the word? Sustainable fame, right? Because they see all these TikTokers with like 2 million followers, and they think, oh, they're making millions, but actually, at the end of the day, people can mistake me for how much I make on TikTok as well all the time. They think because like 150k followers, it's like, oh, you probably get I don't know, ad revenue, or every TikTok that you put out you get money. It's not true at all. So yeah,
I think that's like, the thing is, because you only look at the most successful, and those people actually do make enough. But like that's only like
but
the
they
top
know
of
what
the
they're
top.
doing.
Yeah, but then
Top of the
I
top.
think they're not only doing TikTok, right? They're probably doing other things.
They got
to
businesses. They
gain-
actually know how to do business.
It's
Yeah.
definitely not.
That's what I'm
just them.
saying. Like as Angela was saying, right? Young generation these days, they chase fame more because they open TikTok. They see like, oh, 2 million. He must be like so rich, so famous, and everything. But they don't see all the work that goes in, or even like, well, yeah, the work that goes in for the people who actually know what they're doing. But also, even for the people who are not actually making a lot, they think that they're making tons.
Right, yeah,
if that
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
And someone once said that a lot of young people are just smarter these days in the fact that they're choosing to make money that in that way. You know what I mean? Like how you said, like they would rather not go through the college and the university, which is going to accumulate a lot of debt, and then find a different way of gaining revenue might be a better solution to, you know?
Yeah, I think this is like the first time we have more, I think, young entrepreneurs than ever before. And a lot of those people will never need to work for anyone ever in their lives. And they never did. Straight out of high school, you know, they're already making their money and hiring other people. And so, like, I think this generation will be like that. I think the next generation will be as well.
But I don't
Not everybody, but...
I don't think that's attributable to intelligence, like Sarah was saying. You were saying, like, young people are smarter these days because they're choosing to be entrepreneurs and all that stuff.
What someone once said, yes.
I don't think it's intelligence. I think it's just how easy people's lives are. Whereas, like, think of our parents' generation, where they were struggling to put food on the table. Entrepreneurship is a huge risk, right?
It is, yeah.
When you're in that tough of an environment, you don't have the luxury to take a big risk. Like, you know, I'm going to invest 2 years of my life doing some stupid YouTube videos. Totally not me.
Don't be like Joe, guys.
Subscribe to my channel, support me, and I had to plug myself.
Yeah,
had to plug myself. Can we put it?
You gotta say what your channel is, my boy.
Oh, I'm gonna put it down in the right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
I'll need your
like-
skills to put it on the screen
Social
because I
skills
don't know how to do
BTS.
that.
But yeah, carry on.
Yeah. Say that again.
Huh?
Say that again. Social skills.
Social skills BTS, standing for behind the scenes, not the K-pop group.
What about like how you said some millennials fit in the category of Gen Zs? Now that kind of twisted my mind a bit. I was like, okay, I think I can see that in some ways, but I'd like to hear more about that.
Well, I was just saying hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Because if one can identify as the other, why can't it be vice versa?
Right.
Not saying that I have like, I can think off the top of my head an example of a person that I know who is millennial and identifies with Gen Z more. I can't. Can you guys think of? Yeah.
I think when you talk to people who are like futurists, like who already think about the future, they often feel like they were born in the wrong time, and so they will say like, "Oh, I relate more to like a younger generation because they're more interested in current technology and current trends, whereas the previous generation aren't as interested. It seems like, and so I feel like
Mark Zuckerberg.
So there's less innovation.
But like,
sorry, too many things at the same time.
I potentially, like, maybe because they had a vision for something that didn't exist yet, and that was more to do with the future, and so maybe he would also kind of think that way. But yeah, I think part of that is because like when you think about millennial or anything before that, you're always thinking about the past. But like when you're thinking about Gen Z, you're just thinking about right now. Like everything that you see every day is part of that culture, you know. And if you just feel like you already this culture makes more sense to you, then you're just going to identify more with it. And I think like because this is as most technologically advanced as we've ever been, some people who really love technology and future technology, they would feel like, oh, I love this is what I want to know more about. Whereas some other people who are the same age as them would be like, oh, I don't understand this technology, it's getting too crazy. And so it's kind of like, I think that's where the mindset comes in. I don't think it would make much sense for those people to still say like, oh, I'm part of that generation, and I don't think they do. But I would understand that's why they maybe associate themselves with feeling more inclined to talk to those people.
Right.
Like, that's what my experiences has been, talking to people who are very future focused. But those people are also rare. Like, I don't think there's, like, I'm sure there's lots of them, but they're not.
But it makes sense that they would relate to Gen Z in that sense. And I feel as though it would be more like that's a component of Gen Z that you relate to. Similarly to how I was born in Gen Z era, but I relate to millennials in this way. But there might be some aspects of Gen Z that I sort of like, you know, grab here and there. So I like how you mentioned that it's like it the mindset thing comes into play here. I definitely think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
Is that us?
Awkward.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on this podcast with our lovely guests here. And push the like button, subscribe. Also follow us on Spotify, on Instagram as well. What are your ats? Yeah, we'll put the ats in the video below. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the next podcast, and peace out.
Thank you. See ya.
Oh, that was
when it was done.
Oh my god!
Podcast.
I'm so
Yo!
excited.
Oh, is it still filming? We need to film the claps. No, I'm kidding. That's okay. It's okay.
It's on the mic.
Oh yeah.
All right. Bloopers.
That's a great intro for the Could you just for the podcast, like the whole podcast of blooper? Bloopers. 40 minutes of us talking.
You should get Kish on sometime then.
Oh
It'll
yeah.
be hilarious.
That should be
It'll be
interesting.
You probably have to put
hilarious.
the mic away. Just like
Oh god. Yo, me and him will just run on jokes for 20 minutes, I swear.
I think we need to
He's
put him
got, like,
over
a
there.
supersonic voice.
Yep, yep.
Amazing. I love it.
It's good, eh?
It's like supersonic. You won't even need mics. Like
Huh?
it just
What?
Kish's voice is so loud.
Oh yeah.
It's like supersonic. It's a gift, really.
Interesting. But seriously, were there?
Yeah.
What,
Oh, is it
we
gonna
should
be
definitely talk about
That was
other
a-
topics.
That was a good the only thing I feel like is because we didn't come in you didn't come in with like particular questions. We
I only
did-
came in with one question.